Hello and welcome everyone to 10-Minute Elections. Today is Thursday, August 6th, 2020. As I know I did not upload on Monday, my schedule just got a lot busier just in the past week and probably will be for the rest of the year. So I'm going to move away from the more rigid Monday, Thursday upload structure I'd previously been adhering to, and I'm just going to upload when I can on a more flexible schedule. I'll get one video up every week. I'm going to try to get two. I should get two most weeks. They just may not come on Mondays and Thursdays. Obviously, that would be ideal. You might get a 3-video week in here. Who knows? I'm just going to upload them when I can. But anyway, it's the beginning of a new month, first video of a new month, which means it is time for an electoral map overview. The election between Joe Biden and Donald Trump is inching closer, less than 100 days away, and so it is a good time to take a look at an ever-expanding map. This is also a big milestone. Why? Because for the first time this year, this map is better for Donald Trump than the last map. Donald Trump has just been a downward slide in these maps. I actually recorded a version of this video earlier this week, but scrapped it because that's how quickly these maps can change. So the map has only changed marginally in favor of Donald Trump. It still looks worse for him than my last full 2020 electoral map overview, I believe, but it is marginally better than my projection as of a few days ago, although it still leaves him in a very deep hole and with his work cut out for him. So we still have the states that I moved from safe to likely, those being Alaska, Montana, Kansas, Indiana, etc., etc. I'm not going to go through all of them due to my limited time window, which I may go over occasionally. I'm also not going to adhere rigidly to the 10-minute structure I have been, just because with more flexible videos, sometimes I might want to go more in depth, but I'm going to try and keep this 1 to 10 minutes. So the Republican Party, you see that sea of red missing in the middle of the country. They're down to only 77 safe electoral votes. Joe Biden's been at 188 for a while. So let's just dive right into this map. Alaska and Montana, I've discussed these two states previously. I'm not going to go too in depth. They're going to be likely Republican. They just probably won't reach that 15-point margin. Likewise, with Colorado on the Democratic side, should be safe by 2024. And Nevada, at the start of the year, I was classifying this one as a lean. It is now likely, has been for a couple months, just due to demographics and polls. Arizona, the state is a lean to Joe Biden. I know that we have a lot of outlets projecting it as a toss-up or maybe a tilt D, but I do think just due to the rapid demographic changes, and if the 2018 Senate election between Kyrsten Sinema and Martha McSally teaches us anything, it's that with the turnout that we're expecting in the 2020 election, barring something crazy happening with the virus, Democrats can win in Arizona, and they can win by larger than expected margins as well. So look for Joe Biden to do that here, and I think Mark Kelly is a big favorite in the Senate election. I think it is Mark Kelly's second election to lose. Texas, Biden's actually up 0.5 here. He was up a full point at some point, but I'm actually still going to rate the race as a lean Republican. Although the big thing is the Senate race is moving closer to that lean categorization, still leaving that race between Cornyn and Heger as a likely for now, but it could move into lean territory likely, or likewise. This one is almost on that tilt border. I think it could get there. We could be there by the November election. But again, this map is actually a little bit better for Donald Trump than the last one. Donald Trump is actually seeing improvements from where he was, maybe a week ago. Kansas, no longer safe. I'm looking at about a 13-point margin in the state. Missouri should be a little bit closer, but it's still going to be a likely Republican. And Indiana should probably be somewhere between the two. Both of those are likely Republicans, and all three of these states used to be safe and were for a while, and frankly should be safe. Donald Trump's poll numbers have just slid so much that those states were in play just by virtue of where they were relative to other states. Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District, I used to rate this as a lean R. I'm actually going to rate it as a lean D at this point. I think in the very limited polling and data we have in the 2nd Congressional District, Joe Biden's actually doing well. I think we could see him win here. Obama won in 2008, barely didn't win in 2012. But I actually think Joe Biden has a fighting chance in the 2nd District. More than that, in fact, and I think he'll just sneak over the 1-point line. Look for about a 1.5 to 2-point margin in that 2nd Congressional District. Iowa. Here's one of those states where Donald Trump has tangibly improved it. I used to rate this state as a toss-up. Now, well, it's back into the Republican column, but not by much. This is a tilt-R state, and Donald Trump still has his work cut out for him in Iowa. Joe Biden is more than competitive in the state. The Senate race is still going to be a toss-up between Joni Ernst and Theresa Greenfield, and I think that one will vote to the left of the presidential race. But again, if Donald Trump is having to spend money here to defend what was just a week ago a toss-up state, now barely not, there's an argument that it should still be rated as a toss-up on this map. That's not going to be money that he's spending in states he needs to win that Joe Biden is now clearly ahead in, like Florida. So Minnesota and Michigan, both of these have been for a while likely Democratic states. And I know there have been polls specifically in Michigan that show Joe Biden up by 14, 15, 16, 18 points. I wouldn't buy into those, especially until we've got more consistent polling data showing those. Those really are outlier polls. I know they make headlines, but that's because they are outlier polls ultimately. And so I would look for about a 7 or 8 point margin in Michigan and maybe something like that actually in Minnesota. JHK, actually, this is very interesting. In a flip from 2016, JHK gives Joe Biden a better chance to win Michigan, which Donald Trump won by 0.2% in 2016, than Minnesota, then Pennsylvania, then New Hampshire, or even then Nevada. So the fact that Michigan's supposed to be the bluest of these states, and this was a state that Donald Trump was expected to be legitimately competitive in, it was a toss-up at one point in this election cycle, speaks volumes about just how much the electoral map has moved into Joe Biden's favor, despite the marginal improvement for Donald Trump here. So Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Wisconsin's going to be the most conservative Rust Belt state. That's a lean D in this election. Pennsylvania, all of these states are losing voters and moving to the right. I know Minnesota's going to lose electoral vote in the next election cycle in 2024. Ditto for Pennsylvania. It's going to be down to 19 electoral votes, 17 representatives. But ultimately, these are trending slightly to the right. I know Obama won Michigan by a very large margin, but it's really Donald Trump that has brought these states into play for Republicans, maybe at the cost of a lot of those suburban voters, especially in the Sun Belt states like Texas. Okay, Ohio, this was a toss-up. This is another one of those very marginal improvements, back barely into the Republican column as a tilt-R. Trump still got his work cut out for him here. I don't think this is a state that Biden should target, because if Biden's winning Ohio, which he may well, JHK gives him over a 40% chance, well over 40% chance to win Ohio. He's going to be winning not only Michigan and Pennsylvania, but also states like North Carolina and Arizona. Potentially even, I do think he wins Iowa before he wins Ohio. I think Iowa is the most likely of Iowa, Ohio, and Georgia, those three ultra-competitive states, to potentially flip. So moving down into the South, well, actually, let me hit New Hampshire and Maine first. New Hampshire, just because of Donald Trump's dismal numbers, despite it having been so close in 2016, this is going to be a likely D. Maine's always a likely D state. And the 2nd Congressional District. 2nd Congressional District is actually a toss-up. Very white, very rural, but we know Maine's really a political anomaly, in a lot of areas. So the 2nd Congressional District, I think that the Democratic representative here, Jared Golden, will win re-election. It's the 2nd Congressional District. I don't know what will happen, but this is going to be my toss-up, and in fact, my only toss-up. So at the end in this map, there will be one toss-up electoral vote, and it will be the 2nd Congressional District of Maine. That's the northern part, the majority of the state's land area, much like Nebraska's 3rd. Okay, So, moving down into Virginia, likely D, Bush state now, much like Colorado. North Carolina, same, tilt Democratic both on the presidential and senatorial levels. I think this is going to be the pivot seat if Democrats want to win that Senate majority. And I think it's a big state for Joe Biden because if Joe Biden can win North Carolina or Florida or Georgia or Ohio, then Donald Trump really probably doesn't have a shot at 270. Moving down into South Carolina, the Senate race is actually almost in lean territory. Presidential race is still at about 10 points, but look for this race to. I'm not going to say it's a dark horse race just yet, but I think it should be concerning for Donald Trump that this seat is, or that these electoral votes are competitive. This is probably the least safe of the traditionally safe Republican states, along with Montana, but more South Carolina. Moving down into Florida. I know I'm a bit over time, but with his expanded map, just got a lot of states to cover, so sorry about that. This is going to be a lean Democratic. I know that a lot of polls have been showing Joe Biden up here recently by 4, 5, 7 points. No one wins Florida by 7 points. Barely even in a landslide year, someone can win Florida by 7 points. Obama in 2008, which was the most recent thing resembling a landslide, didn't win Florida by 7 points. But I do think Joe Biden is going to win Florida by about 2 to 3 points, maybe on the closer to 2 end of that, but obviously a very interesting race and a must win for Donald Trump. Donald Trump needs Florida on his path to 270, and right now it doesn't look like he's going to get it. Georgia, this was another state that was a toss-up earlier this week. It is now back into tilt our territory. Trump is not particularly popular in the state, and I think Biden, especially with some of the running mates that he's considering, I think with Keisha Lance Bottoms, he might win Georgia. But for now, I'll actually make an update on this when Biden announces his VEEP on how it's going to change the electoral map. But for now, I'm just going to rate it as a tilt R, because ultimately it is a pink state right now, probably won't be by 2024. And then Mississippi. This one is the closest to safe of all the safe to likely red states. So I mean, I'm not saying anything about the state going forward. Although actually, with black turnout continually increasing in the state, we may see this state become a staple likely red state. We may see Mississippi brought into the map. I think it's going to be the next southern state to become competitive. So, I don't really see Democrats winning elections soon in Mississippi, barring very unpopular Republican candidates, but I think it's interesting to look at the ever-expanding map. So, expect this map to shrink down in 2024, assuming the Republicans nominate a decently popular candidate and the Democrats don't have someone extraordinarily popular running. We'll see. We'll definitely see states like Kansas, potentially Mississippi, definitely like Indiana and Missouri, going back into this safe R column. But until then, we can expect to see this expanded map potentially be more bark than bite, but it's interesting, although not particularly visually appealing to look at. So here's my electoral map, this quote-unquote marginally improved electoral map for Donald Trump. 334 Democrat, 203 Republican, 1 toss-up, Maine 2nd Congressional District. Thank y'all so much for watching. Just bear with me on this new, more flexible upload schedule, and drop a comment. I love to hear hot takes. This is the place for all things electoral politics. All right, stay safe, y'all. See y'all in the next one.